The Rock Metal Podcast, episode 79 with Invisible Mirror. So Rock Metal Nation, what is up? This is John from the Rock Metal Podcast. That sample you just heard was Frozen River by Invisible Mirror, who I've got on the show with me right now. They're a hard and heavy metal band from Switzerland. I'm going to be listening to that song as well as one other while finding out more information about the band. Ricky, welcome to the show.
What's up, John? How's it going?
Going very well. Had a great day. Just hung out with my son mostly. How about yourself?
Working most of the time, man. Been in the studio all day working on stuff. Try to push it forward, man.
You got it. Let's go and listen back to that track, Frozen River. All right, come back from Frozen River. Big question for you, Ricky. What is the story or inspiration behind Frozen River?
Oh man, that's an interesting question. Frozen River, basically, the main thing behind it is basically, how can I say that? Memories that have been lived, but right now are sealed and gone forever. So, it's kind of like when maybe somebody passed away, maybe our relationship ended sour, stuff like that. So it's always a memory, but it's not like you can go back and revisit it. Like, for example, I don't know, man, you've been at a great spot on vacation, whatever. You can't go back there because it's not the same. It's gone. It's something happened. And yeah, those memories are gone forever. And so, yeah, it could be different things.
Yeah, the particular energy that exists at a moment in time, regardless of the space in which that energy exists.
Right.
I'm trying to think, for example, if I want to, let's say, a group trip somewhere, there's a certain particular energy with that trip. And if I were to say, for example, revisit that, I don't know, culinary class I did in Italy where I learned how to do pasta making and I made all these friends.
Exactly.
If I were to go back to that same thing, it'd be different people, different instructor. It's it's the same place, but it's different.
Yeah. And you're basically nailing it because the song really got inspired by the passing of both my grandparents in a really, short amount of time. And when they were alive, it was just, I would just go back to Italy because that's where I'm from and always visit that place and, just to see them and see the family and everything. But once they passed away, it was just like, it sounds kind of harsh, but it was like there was no reason for me to go there anymore because it's gone. The whole place was basically the way it was because of them, because of just the way you mention it.
Yeah. I know it's crossing genres a bit, but there's a line in an old Drake song where he says, "I'm looking forward to the memories of right now."
Yeah.
And that's just kind of always stuck with me for whatever reason, that particular line. And for example, when I'm hanging out with my son, he's 3 years old. I'm just like, you know what? One day he's going to be a snot-nosed teenager. One day he's going to be my age. One day he's going to be, 70 years old. He's going to be a 90-year-old man. I'm just looking forward to the memories of right now.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, that's also a message, what's in the past is in the past, and as Vinnie Paul once said, when I read in an interview, when they kept asking about Pantera reunion, he's like, man, if you live in the past, you have no future.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the quote that stuck with me. And also inspired writing that song, of course.
Yeah, very cool. Now, I'm curious, with the name Frozen River, what inspired the name Frozen River?
Oh, man. Basically, Frozen River was meant to be a working title. So, when I started writing the song, I just name it with whatever comes in my mind. And I'm like, all right, Frozen River. And when we were working with our producer on the record, he basically came up with an idea, a chorus, and he kept saying Frozen River, because that was actually the working title. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, kind of sounds really cool. and the reason why I kept the title, because I told you the stories related to my grandparents. Back in that little city, there basically was a river. And it was kind of a really mystic river because, it never had water in it and people drowned in it when water was flowing through there. So I was like, man, kind of, it fits the theme. It fits the thing I'm writing,
Yeah. Now, speaking of writing, what was unique about the writing process when it came to Frozen River?
Frozen. I mean, the song was 8.5 minutes.
Yeah. Not long enough, my friend.
Not long enough. So
part-timer.
Yeah. And then I was working with Connie on the song, and he basically, kind of rearranged it. And he's like, man, I got an idea for that song. And he sent me the song, and it's like the riff in the middle now is the main riff. The breakdown riff is kind of like the verse riff, and the verse riff is the chorus riff. So he had that strange idea to like move and shift things around. And I was listening to the song for a long time when it was 8.5 minutes long, so it took me a while to get used to it. But then I'm like, man, fuck, this is brilliant. This is kind of great, And I think that's why you work with producers, because they have maybe an idea or a different idea that works better. And so basically he was like, let's just use the two main riffs in the song and just make, work on these songs instead of having like 5 different riffs in one song. So that was the unique part about the Frozen River writing process.
Very cool. Now, there's also a music video for Frozen River, so Rock Metal Nation, if you dug that track, go ahead and go to today's show notes. It's going to be www.therockmetalpodcast.ca, and there on today's show notes, you can see the music video as a bonus for Frozen River. Now, my big question for you is, what's the story or inspiration behind what we see in the music video?
Well, what we tried to do in the video was basically reproduce the meaning behind that song. So you basically see a church full of people, and it's supposed to be kind of a funeral thing. And Chris, our singer, he's playing the main role, and so he's basically in that church, and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck is going on?" And he's trying, "Hey guys, can you see me? Can you hear me?" But basically, everybody ignores him because we really don't see him. It's like a really twisted thing, and we really try to reproduce, hey, man, that's a memory, he can't come back. Or the people who see him, that's a memory, he's gone, So yeah. It's really twisted, and yeah. But it really represents the meaning of the song is that, man, this guy's gone, and he's trying to come back, but he can't.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, all right. Let's go listen to the next track, Life of a Stranger.
Can you tell me where's the key to unlock this door?
right, come back from Life of a Stranger. Similar question for you, Ricky. What is the inspiration or story behind Life of a Stranger?
Good question too, man. Life of a Stranger basically is about not fitting somewhere. Like, for example, again here, there's different situations. I mean, one of them was when you're out on the road. You're constantly in a new place, in a new country, new city, with a new culture, and so it's always like, do I fit here? Is it? Yeah, I'm just here. And in my case, it was being born in one country and growing up in a different country. I always find it really difficult to find a place to fit, or even have a place you can call home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about having a hard time to fit somewhere and trying to find your place, trying to find your people, your environment where you can say, man, that's where I belong. And that's something I kind of never really had.
Yeah. No, I completely resonate with that one personally because I was born in Canada, moved around the United States for quite some time, basically growing up in different parts of the United States, and then eventually moved back to Canada at a different place than where I'm from in Canada. And so it's like, if you ask me where home is, I'm like, I don't, what is
right.
What is home? Right. I have no idea.
Yeah. And it's something that bothered me for a while because, when people ask me where you're from, and you're like, shit, it's a good question, man. I'm from this part of the world, and I'm from that country, and I was raised with their culture, but basically grew up in a totally different country with a totally different culture. And so you try to adapt, you try to fit, but then sometimes you realize it's just not who you are. And so, yeah, it bothered me a little bit. And that's when I, came up with the song, Life of a Stranger.
Yeah. Now, speaking of coming up with the song, what was unique about the writing process when it came to Life of a Stranger?
The unique thing was, the writing process was just, me, on my computer or on the mixing desk, like on the picture.
Holding on for dear life.
Yeah. And I was just, writing that song, and then I presented to the guys, and the first reaction was like, man, that's kind of a different song, man. I don't know if we should put that on the record. So everybody kind of was like, we're not sure, But then I played it to the producers, and they're like, dude, we gotta put this song on the record because it's something different. It's not straight metal. It's really melodic, and it basically also represents what this band is about, genre-wise. There's heavy riffs, there's a lot of dynamics. It's hooky. There's clean guitars, heavy guitars, solos. So, yeah, that song kind of represents what the band is.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I think they're both tracks, especially the ones that we just listened to today, Rock Metal Nation, are very representative of what the band can offer, which is why I'm very excited to have both of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next thing for Rock Metal Nation is if you go to today's show notes, that's www.therockmetalpodcast.ca. You can also see the lyric video for Life of a Stranger. Now, generally speaking, those are pretty self-explanatory. Well, there's lyrics on a screen, but I always like to ask anyway if there was any kind of inspiration behind maybe the background content or the way the lyrics were displayed or, anything behind the lyric video.
We had an idea. I had an idea, and I wanted it to fit the album cover. And so, the one thing that I really wanted to have in this lyric video is the whole ocean kind of thing, because Edge of Tomorrow. Just imagine, sitting on that cliff and just looking at the wide ocean and just what's going to be tomorrow. But I got to be honest, it's not really related to the lyrics. It's just we kind of try to make it a little dark, a little dramatic. And we worked with a guy named Brian Cox here in Los Angeles who did the video. And we just wanted him to kind of do, what he felt. Just put on some cool images. And with those images try to represent the meaning of the song.
Yeah. Now, so Rock Metal Nation, if you dug Frozen River and you definitely got into Life of a Stranger, you're also going to like Different Ways, which is going to be a bonus track that's going to be on the show notes for today. So if you go to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca, you're going to go ahead and get the Frozen River music video, the lyric video for Life of a Stranger, as well as a bonus track, Different Ways. Now, Ricky, why don't you go ahead and tell Rock Metal Nation a little bit about the Different Ways music video?
And maybe a more kind of rock and roll sort of, going a little bit back to 80s metal, 80s rock sort of. So the intro riff basically says it all. Yeah, and basically the plan to release Different Ways was just, giving them another song which shows a different side of the band. And, because the main goal of the band has always been to kind of implement all different kinds of elements of rock and roll, of hard rock, heavy metal, and that song basically represents our influences from the 80s, I would say.
Very cool stuff. What exciting news do you guys have coming up for Rock Metal Nation to pay attention to?
Right now we're really busy writing new songs because you always got to be ready, and you cannot afford to stay away for too long nowadays. So we have a bunch of cool new songs out. We're planning about doing some unplugged stuff as well. And we're trying to be back on the road early next year. And after that, just go back in the studio and write new material, get ready to record some new material.
Okay, cool stuff.
Yeah, also new video should be coming up. So, yeah, we're always working, man.
Ooh, all right. So Rock Metal Nation, right now, Invisible Mirror is writing some new songs. If you dug what you heard today, Frozen River, Life of a Stranger, you're on the website, you're listening to Different Ways as well. You're definitely going to dig the new songs they've got coming up. There's also going to be some unplugged stuff coming up. That's acoustic stuff coming up, which is going to be fantastic. I always get excited myself about that. On the road, on the road early next year, as well as a new music video coming up. So the next logical question for Rock Metal Nation listening in right now, how can they find out more about you? Is there a website that they should go to?
Yeah, we have a website, which is www.invisiblemirror.com. Really simple. We share a lot of stuff on Facebook nowadays, so like news and upcoming stuff. Definitely on Facebook, just type in Invisible Mirror and you're going to find that stuff out. Just follow us and get the latest news and updates and some unseen material, maybe, tour pictures, videos, stuff like that. So definitely the best place to stay in touch with us. And if anyone has a question or a request or something, we're really responsive on Facebook, so just hit us up.
Boom. All right, so Rock Metal Nation, if you dug everything you heard today, go ahead and go to invisiblemirror.com. And if you're on Facebook, you can definitely search for the band there. Go to your Facebook page and then go in the search bar, search for Invisible Mirror. Their page will come up. You can definitely keep in touch with them. Now, Ricky, unless there's anything else you'd like to throw out there, I just wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to come on to the Rock Metal Podcast and sharing your creativity with Rock Metal Nation.
It's my pleasure, man. Thanks for having us. Thanks to all the people who listen, who dug our music. And hopefully one day we'll be touring Canada as well, man.
Boom! All right, Rock Metal Nation. Hopefully you just found your new favorite band in Invisible Mirror. Big thanks again to them for coming on and sharing their music with us. Make sure to head over to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca to get all the information on the show you just heard today. And until then, rock on, Rock Metal Nation.